everybody, welcome back. We're going to take a second look here at the no-code hate generated by this statement. I'm going to switch over to Twitter this time. Last time we were looking at LinkedIn, which was probably more representative of the developer coding community, whereas Twitter, they're kind of more representative of the opinion that no-coders have in reaction to this. So again, this is the comment: the no-code movement really should be renamed to "Eventually You Will Need Some Code." Now, one interesting thing that I do want to point out before I even start looking at the comments is if you just go to this accounts, like this promotional content here, it takes you directly to like information about a Twitter promotional campaign. So it kind of leads me to believe that this was more of a way to generate a buzz around your Twitter account. Because look at all this. This is like, posting tweet analytics and stuff, as opposed to it being like a hardcore stance one way or the other. It did what it was supposed to do. It generated a lot of comments. Look at these stats here. I've never had a tweet that go this, viral. I don't know if you call this viral, but it's a lot of impressions. So it did what it was supposed to do. Whether this person really believes this or not, who knows? Okay, so let's start here. The somebody else already coded movement. Rob, I think, makes a good point here in that if you're not coding in zeros and ones and binary machine code, you're already part of that movement. So anything like Python or JavaScript or the more abstract programming languages are someone already did like the very base machine work for you. So same thing here with you can think of Bubble as a very abstract programming languages. It's kind of just the next iteration of programming languages. You can make that argument. Jordan Richardson here, we need to help each other. Yes, I agree with this, right? So just, why can't we get along kind of thing? Rob here again. Yeah, no, delivering no code to clients since 2016 and never resorted to code. Sorry you don't have the vision to see where things are headed. Again, I think this is a little reactionary. 2016. I mean, I would ask here, like, have you used a plugin since 2016? Probably yes. And if you did, then the plugin was built using code. So I don't know. That would be kind of my response to this statement here. Unpopular opinion. No code is a response to narcissistic software developers wanting more and more money for their endless debates about clean code, best programming language framework, while providing no real business value and treating business people like enemies. I don't think that, again, speaking very broadly here, I think there is some truth to this, where, there's these endless debates around clean code and what the best methodology for coding is. And at the end of the day, it's like, if it doesn't solve anybody's problems, who cares? Well, it's not useful. So I think there is a degree of truth to this, but is this entirely what the no code field is built on? I don't think so. I think there's more to it than this, but this is definitely part of it. I think there is this thing though, of distinguishing real developers, separate like a real developer is someone who can code, a no-code developer is someone who only uses no code. So there is definitely this distinction in these conversations of real versus fake developers that I don't necessarily think I agree with. Imagine here. Some software developers behave like that. They're so obsessed with technical perfection that they're afraid to give away any code that isn't perfect. They forget that perfection is an iterative process. I agree with this very much. There is, and this happens. This is not specific to software developers. No code people do this too. You're constantly focused on like the feature set that you're trying to build, or making your thing absolutely pretty, or like you need to add this one thing before you release it. And that's very ego-based. It's very like, oh, this isn't perfect, so I can't put it out there for criticism yet because I'm afraid of the reaction that I'm going to get. So I think there's definitely some truth here. And I think perfection definitely is an iterative process. That Amazon didn't become the way it is with its first iteration. It changed over many feedback loops. So I think taking your ego out of it is the point here. Hey, everyone's business depends on someone else's code. What about project dependencies, libraries, runtime, compilers, language, operating system, network? You want to code all that by yourself? Yeah, tell them. Great response. No code does solve a lot of problems at a fraction of the cost. Developers are great, but they're not always viable. A viable option for startups to the budget constraints. Oftentimes, it was like, well, we can solve problems much quicker and scale easier. No code is the flat Earth society of software development. I mean, it's pretty rude, but that's pretty funny. Come on, we should be able to laugh at ourselves too. That's pretty goddamn hilarious. Although I don't think it's accurate. There is no competition between code and no code. If you can code, why not combine them? You ship faster, minimize the cost of development. Good comment. I like this. Mark Dell, Dumalik. Uh, I think that this is true. There shouldn't be any competition between these two things. Sarah, I develop apps with visual programming for small businesses which never have the budget to do these projects in code, and these apps are a game changer in everyday business lives. The idea of this thing of a smaller budget, there is definitely, to code a fully functional application in code requires a lot of different skill sets. So you almost need to, if you are going to build it the traditional way, you need to hire a team. That was my first code, my first app that I built. I hired a team to build it on Upwork, and it's expensive. You're paying 4 or 5 people with different areas, a designer, a SQL person. Like there's a lot of with the solution like this, you don't one person can do all of that stuff. So there's definitely a cost savings to it. Uh, though I've also underpriced myself quite a bit too, and that's problematic. But that's kind of a learning experience as you learn how to work with clients. But yeah, this thing of that no code building on no code can save you money is true. You can do it for way cheaper than hiring an entire team. No code is a nice trick to bring normal people into coding. Just don't tell them. They don't want to know that their complex visual script is a program. Okay. I guess that's I guess that's a compliment or an insult. I don't know. Maybe neither. It's a good trick. I think it does bring normal people into uh, coding or technical uh, uh, app building. Eventually, the programming kind of will be based on only building a no-code platform, which will eventually become a no-code platform itself, separating the two communities forever. No-code designers and software engineers. Toxicity in the software community will dwindle. I think this. Do we have to separate themselves? Is there no overlap in these communities? I feel like there is. I feel like we have to talk to one another. If I could sum this whole back and forth up in a meme, this would be it. All right, you got the condescending Willy Wonka, no code, that's cute. And then you've got the okay boomer, you're stuck in the past. No code is a lie. What does that even mean?